What's up, Mazda here. Hope you're having a splendid day. So today we will be talking about Project Kics R40 Iconix wheel lug nuts, and these will be replacing my beat up Muteki SR48s. So unfortunately the lug nuts will look like this when a dealer gets hold of your car and do servicing. That's the way it is, but now we at least have a spare set which we can use when the car is going to the dealer for the maintenance. So the intention of today's video is talk about what's included in the kit, the packaging, and also the wheel lug nuts themselves, obviously. So these will be mounted on my 2019 Mazda MX-5 ND2 or Miata, and we will be mounting them together with my new wheels, which are the Desmond Regamaster Evo 2s, and I have a video of those as well. If you're interested, I'll link it up above so you can have a look for yourself. With that introduction then, let's get on with the unboxing and see what's included and then get these mounted on the car. Let's briefly talk about the packaging. It is not that impressive considering the price paid, but I rather pay a little bit less than having a fancy box. More or less all the text on the box itself is in Japanese, so if you know Japanese, that's good. If not, then yeah, tough luck, but I think we will manage anyway. If we turn it around and get it open up, then lug nuts themselves are in this foam padded casing, we could say. And also, before I forget, this piece of paper you have here on in the box, don't throw it away, because this then has a code which you need to have if you for some reason then lose your socket for the security lock nuts then. So keep this secure so you don't lose it. So looking at how these are then packaged, so this is a 20-piece setup. We have 4 security lock nuts then, and then we have 16 of these regular lug nuts which look like this. We will get to the lug nuts themselves. And as you can see, we do have a socket for the security lock nuts and a socket that goes on top of this one, which then attaches to your torque wrench. And turning this around, we have the last 5 lug nuts here, and then we also do have a tool to then remove these aluminium caps which we have here. We will talk about these in a second as well. So that is that with regards to the packaging and also what's included in the kit. Let's cover the dimensions of the sockets and the lug nuts themselves. Let's start with the lug nut. The total overall length is 44 millimeters. The widest part is 22 millimeters. The seating do have a 60-degree taper. The total length of the threaded part is 26 millimeter, and this is a 17 millimeter hex. Then the socket that goes on top of the 17 millimeter hex here measures 60 millimeters in total length and 24 millimeters in width, in diameter, and it's a 21 millimeter hex. The socket that goes on top of the security locking nuts do measure 42 millimeters in total length and is also 24 millimeters in diameter, and it is a 17 millimeter hex. Let's have a look at how we can remove the aluminum caps with the provided plastic tool which I showed you earlier. It looks like this, and this goes simply on top of the nut like so, and then we can twist it and loosen the cap off and then remove it. And hopefully you can see that we do have a rubber gasket here then, which prevents water from getting into the threads and starting to cause any issues then. Let's have a look at the locking nuts. I did not have locking nuts on my Muteki setup. This is a nice additional security to have for an additional 30 seconds or so to deter any thieves. I don't know, the car is sitting 95% of the time in my garage here, so hopefully these will never be needed, but still it is a nice addition. And the splines on these locking nuts are not the same all around, so when inserting the socket we need to find the right position, and then it will fall into place and secure it to the lug nut. So just don't force it down because it will damage the socket or the nut itself. Before we continue with mounting the wheels on the car, I just wanted to cover some more topics with regards to having a 2-piece lug nut or not, and also the wheels. I don't know if this comes through, but these wheels do have paint on the seating here on the wheel itself. I don't like that, because what happens if we do have a regular lug nut, as the Mutekis I have here, and hopefully this comes through. As you can see, we have scuff marks all around, and I can't remember, but I think this portion also was orange, but obviously it is not orange any longer, and that is because we are then, due to the friction when turning the lug nut, we have removed the paint on this surface. And also, if we would have been mounting the Mutekis on these wheels, we would have then also been removing the paint on the wheel itself. And then when we are then tightening this down with the specified torque setting, we are actually potentially not getting the specified torque setting, because then we have paint flaking either on the lug nut or on the wheel itself, which can cause the lug nut to come loose, and you need to retighten this every so often then. Hopefully with the two-piece setup, as the seating here then rotates freely, we will not have that issue, even though we have a painted surface here. As the seating then here rotates freely from the lug nut itself, we will be able to torque this down, and hopefully it will sit like that and do not come loose. And also, we are obviously not damaging the paint on the wheel, nor are we damaging the paint on the lug nut. So I just wanted to talk a little bit more about the two-piece setup or not. Hopefully it will work out, and also these lug nuts are in forged steel. Hopefully we will not have any issues when tracking and so on. So we have reached the final step. The car is lowered down safely. Next is then to torque down the lug nuts, and this is done as per usual, done with our torque wrench. I hope you're using a torque wrench and not an impact gun, God forbid. So what we will do is to utilize the provided socket for the regular nuts, and then we will use the socket provided for the locking nut for that specific one. However, we have to do this in a staggered setup, so the socket for the regular lug nuts do have a 21mm hex, so I will use a socket for that. And this socket then will go on top of my torque wrench, and then we will torque down the regular nuts, and then we will add on top of these two the socket for the locking nut and torque that one down. So it's not a super nice setup. Before anyone makes a comment in the comment section below, that is, we don't need to run a three-piece setup when torquing down the locking nut, because we can replace this one then to a 17mm hex and attach it to the torque wrench, and then do it in this way, and then we have gone down from 3 to 2. But I just wanted to mention that before I get some sarcastic comments down below that. And also I need to be careful so this doesn't fall out when I'm taking this out and damage the wheel. That can happen, believe me, so I need to take caution with regards to that. And also for these caps, I have tightened them down as much as I dare to, and later on I will be adding some blue Loctite, because these are really expensive to replace, because obviously it gets a lot of heat in this area, so the lug nuts will expand and contract, and potentially then these can come out or loosen up and fall out, and replacing them will be expensive. And also I would like to paint these in orange to match the caliper and the paint of the car. So once that is done, I will apply some blue Loctite when replacing or reinstalling them. So that is that. What is next to do is to torque these down, and we are finished. That was my take on the Project Kics R40 Iconix wheel lug nuts. I hope you have enjoyed today's video and it has been insightful and given you some information at least of what the lug nuts are like and what the installation process is and what to expect. I know I'm not the first person on the block to install these, but hey, that's the way it is, and we will see over time then how the paint, fit and finish, etc. will hold up, and also the caps and so on. Maybe I can do a short update video on that as a short. So let's see. If you did like today's video, give it a big thumbs up. Do remember to subscribe for coming content. So with that said, I'll be seeing you on the next one.